I wasn't finding a lot of information about this seemingly forgotten cemetery in New Hope, Pennsylvania, besides what Find a Grave had and what the Bucks County Genealogical website had about it, which led me to this transcript, but not much after that. This transcript from 1960 shows a dedicated effort was made to document the visible gravestones here. The transcript not only captures the names, birth, and death years of each headstone, but it also documents the conditions of the cemetery at that time. Now this one, it actually took me a little bit to dig into. Me and Danny were here last year when I learned of this cemetery. I say it's mostly abandoned. Got picnic tables falling apart. Now, this was one of those places where I visited first before I started digging into the history. It also has a notable family that's also buried here, which is actually very surprising. It's in this condition, but we'll get to that in a couple minutes. There's also Civil War soldiers that are buried here. But let me show you what I'm looking at. Now there is a fenced-in area right here, but there's also graves on that side. There's headstones falling over here. Now New Hope is not a poor town at all. It is not a struggling town. It is actually considered a rich town. So much so that a very famous celebrity lives in this town. So you see this obelisk here, and it has the Corel family listed on it, and also the Corel family down here. The Corel family was a very prominent family in and I'll discuss this further, the now what they call Lambertville and New Hope area. There was a place called Corel's Ferry, and that actually used to be Lambertville. And they had a ferry business that ran between New Hope and what was then known as Corel's Ferry. Now the Corel Ferry was also a huge deal during the Revolutionary War. Now, the George Washington crossing of 1776 wasn't actually the only crossing of the Delaware River he had. He used Corel's Ferry in 1778, I think, because what happened is he had his troops over at Valley Forge, and after Valley Forge, he came down here, used Corel's Ferry to get him and his troops across to what is now known as Lambertville. So it was pretty huge. And this family is in this dilapidated cemetery. Now there's smaller headstones back here, and we'll get in here in a minute. There's actually an opening over here. They end in C. They are also Corels, and there's also, I believe, a dog. Yeah, that headstone over there is dog. And what happened was when Lambert came to Corel's Ferry, he had his nephew, I guess you can call it, installed as a postmaster at the post office. And they started dubbing the town Lambertville, two separate words. And over time, it became known as Lambertville. This pissed off the Corels. They believed that, I'm forgetting the name. They believed that the town should have been changed from Corel's Ferry to Georgetown in honor, I believe, a Revolutionary general that was in their family. So they started dubbing Lambertville as Lambert Villain. And it's weird because after time passes, the Corel seem to have disappeared from history. Mary Frances Torbit, 1910. Mary Owen. Louis Elwood Corel. Rebecca H. Corel. Elias Eli Corel. Mary W. Corel. And Louis S. Corel. Louis E. Corel. Louis S. I do believe this is the one with the headstone. 1865. On the 77th year of his age. And Mary Corel. 1859. So these are the two headstones over here. And we have on this side Elias, who we just saw the headstone of, and Rebecca, who's all down here. Now I do believe these little headstones are Corels as well. That one is L-E-L. Now if you notice, there's plots here. There's probably plots here. There's plots over there. There's plots here. There's a plot there. But there's a big empty space right here. Big empty area. There could be people buried here, but I'm not seeing any markers. I'm not seeing any headstones, nothing. It's a big open area. And yet we have family plots over there, people buried over there, outside the fencing area. This is another Corel. Lizzie something Charles H. Chapman. Now there's like family plots over here. This is Caddy Cope. Now over here, I do believe is the Voorhees family plot. I just left my camera back there. You should be right. Yeah, this is the Voorhees family plot. There's a bunch of headstones here. William W. Voorhees. Age 1 year, is that what this is? Oh, no. Memory of Mary F., the wife of Abraham J. Voorhees. Anne R. Voorhees, daughter of Abraham J., 1846 to 1914. Now, the weeds don't seem to be as bad as last year because I do believe for the Voorhees family plot, I wasn't even able to get in there because the weeds were so thick. I do see some displaced dirt. Hold on a second. Like right here, it's a little mound. And this part to here is sunken in. That's actually what it's looking like. Because there's a depression here, and there's a mound up here. Well, there are times where family members have a person dug up and moved. I hope the vandals or grave robbers did it. So normally I don't stand in sunken plots, but just to give you a perspective, and I truly believe this one was removed. Just to give you a perspective, here is the sunken in part, and here is the mound part. And then it levels out and goes down into the gorge. Not really a gorge, I forgot what it's called. It does have a name. Now, this is an oddly placed stone. I'm wondering if it was a headstone. It's relatively kind of flat. All right, let's get to the other side. Thornton Holden, Huffnagel, and Anne Fry. John Fry. John J. Watts, it looks like. I'm going to clear some leaves off in that in a minute. Wilson Harding, 33 years old. Got some shifting soil. Looks like a bit of a depression. I'm not seeing any more headstones this way. There are 2 Civil War soldiers buried here. And it's probably going to get loud in a minute with these motorcycles. There's some rain. Not every mystery needs solving. We may never uncover who they were or the origin of this seemingly forgotten cemetery, but taking a moment to walk around and read the names that can be read is how we keep their stories from fading entirely. It's not always about answers. Sometimes it's about honoring the silence.